When life feels difficult, where do you seek answers? True wisdom is not found outside but within your own heart. Let go of all attachments for a moment and listen to my words. This one teaching may illuminate your path.
Chapter 1: The one who masters the mind masters life. At this moment, what is the state of your mind? On a quiet night, as the noise of the world fades away, and you stand at the edge of the day, is your mind at peace, or is it still filled with restless thoughts? Buddha once said, "Everything originates from the mind. When the mind is clear, the world is clear. When the mind is troubled, the world is troubled. The world we see is merely a reflection of our minds." The same scenery can appear beautiful when we are in a good mood. But when we are exhausted and weary, it loses its luster. In the end, happiness and suffering do not come from the outside. They depend on how our minds perceive and accept them. Then, how can we master our minds? The mind is like a tranquil lake. When calm, it reflects the world deeply and clearly. But when disturbed by wind or stones, its surface ripples and turns murky. Our daily lives are no different. A single word from someone can upset us. A small mistake can lead to self-reproach. And worries about the future can keep our minds in constant turmoil. But just as the waves subside and the water clears again, our minds, too, must learn to settle. To develop the strength to remain undisturbed by external chaos. And to see things as they truly are. This is the first step to mastering the mind. Buddha also taught, an untamed mind is like a stormy wind. But a well-trained mind can guide us anywhere. If we fail to control our emotions, we drift aimlessly, like a ship caught in a storm. However, if we learn to master our minds, we can find tranquility even in the midst of chaos. So, how can we calm the storm and take control of our minds? The first step to mastering the mind is pausing and observing. Throughout the day, we experience countless emotions and thoughts: joy, sadness, anxiety, anger. Most people, when faced with these emotions, get swept away by them. We get angry and then regret it. We worry endlessly, only to realize that time has simply passed. But Buddha taught us, when the mind moves, observe its movement. When you become aware of your mind, it will no longer control you. Yes, the first step to mastering the mind is simply observing our emotions as they arise. Before reacting in anger, acknowledge, I am feeling angry right now. When worries flood in, recognize, my mind is being shaken by anxiety. Even this small act of awareness allows the mind to begin settling. The second step is observing the breath. When we feel anxious and restless, we often believe we must do something to fix it. However, sometimes, doing nothing and simply focusing on our breath can bring about remarkable change. Breathe in slowly and exhale gently. By simply observing the inhale and exhale, our tangled thoughts begin to unravel, and we find ourselves centered in the present moment. Buddha said, with each breath in and out, you remain only in the now. When you stay with your breath, your mind becomes still. With every deep inhale and exhale, scattered thoughts gradually organize themselves, and the mind finds a state of calm. Finally, the most important step in mastering the mind is the practice of letting go. We hold on to so many things in life: regrets from the past, worries about the future, the wounds inflicted by others. But if we truly reflect, are the things we cling to really that valuable? Buddha taught, if you try to grasp water with clenched fists, it will slip through your fingers. But if you open your hands, the water will remain. The more we cling, the more anxious we become. But when we let go, we find peace. What is it that you are holding onto right now? If you were to gently release it, how much lighter would your heart feel? Now, let us take a deep breath, calm our minds, and fully embrace this moment. Chapter 2: The mind is like a flowing river. Many people believe that mastering the mind means controlling it completely, making it unshakable. But is that really necessary? Buddha compared the mind to a river. A river is always flowing. Sometimes it moves gently, while at other times, rain causes it to surge violently. And when it strikes rocks, it splashes and foams. But one thing is certain: no matter how turbulent it becomes, the river always keeps flowing forward. And eventually, it returns to its natural calm. Our minds work the same way. Even when sadness washes over us, even when anger flares up, those emotions, like a river, will eventually pass. So instead of trying to suppress or deny emotions, practice simply observing and allowing them to flow. By doing this, your mind will naturally regain its clarity. Buddha also said, a flowing river knows its own path. Like a river, let your mind flow naturally. We often try to cling to certain emotions. We wish joy would last forever. And we hope sadness disappears quickly. But just as we cannot change the flow of nature, we cannot artificially control our emotions either. Joy will fade someday, and sadness, too, will eventually pass. That is the natural way of things. So whatever emotion comes your way, do not try to hold on to it or push it away. Simply let it flow. That is the wise way to master the mind. How can we better accept the natural flow of our minds? The first method is seeing the present moment as it is. Our minds become troubled because we dwell on the past with regret, or worry about the future with anxiety. But a river never flows backward, nor does it rush ahead to the future. It simply flows in this moment. If we, too, can remain in the present, wouldn't our hearts feel a little lighter? Buddha said, do not cling to the past. Do not worry about the future. The only place you belong is this very moment. Right now, where is your mind? Is it wandering through the past or the future? Or is it fully present in this moment? Ask yourself this question, and slowly, deeply, immerse yourself in the present. To accept the mind's natural flow, we must first accept the present moment. The second method is letting go. A river never tries to hold onto its water. If you attempt to grasp the flowing water, it will simply slip through your fingers. Our minds are the same. When we cling to emotions, thoughts, and expectations, we only make ourselves suffer. Think about the worries and pains that once troubled you. At the time, they seemed unbearable. But didn't they eventually pass? Let go, and you will be free. The moment you release your attachments, your mind will become clear like a flowing river. The heavier the burden, the more exhausted we become. But the moment we let go, life feels much lighter. If something is weighing down your heart right now, try releasing it gently, and like a river, allow it to flow naturally. The third method to accepting the mind's flow is observing nature. Sometimes, our thoughts become overwhelming, but nature teaches us important lessons without saying a single word. Watch a flowing river, and let your mind flow with it. Look at leaves swaying in the wind, and allow your emotions to drift away like them. Buddha said, "Look at nature. It carries no worries or desires. It simply exists as it is." Right now, take a moment to open your window and look outside. Observe the stillness of nature, and quietly reflect on your own heart. Like a river, let your mind flow freely. By doing so, you will find a deep and lasting peace. Chapter 3: Letting Go of Troubling Thoughts. Each day, countless thoughts occupy our minds. Memories of past mistakes, anxieties about the future, concerns about how others perceive us. These thoughts never seem to stop troubling us. But Buddha taught, thoughts are like clouds drifting across the sky. Do not try to hold on to them, just let them pass. Imagine the sky above you. You cannot stop the clouds from moving. But if you simply observe them, they will eventually fade away on their own. The same is true for the thoughts in our minds. If a thought is truly important, it will remain naturally. If it is unnecessary, it will disappear in time. So how can we free ourselves from the endless cycle of troubling thoughts? The first method is practicing awareness of thoughts. Most of us assume that the thoughts in our minds are an accurate reflection of who we are. But is that really true? For example, you might think, "I am a failure. I am not good enough." But does having these thoughts mean they define who you are? Buddha taught, do not mistake your thoughts for your true self. They are like passing clouds. They will not stay forever. When a thought arises, instead of believing it immediately, step back and simply observe. This kind of thought is appearing in my mind. Just by recognizing your thoughts as temporary, their grip on you will begin to weaken. And over time, they will naturally fade away. The second method is lightening the weight of the mind. We often hold on to unnecessary thoughts that only serve to weigh us down. Old wounds, past mistakes, and worries about things that haven't even happened yet. But do we really need to carry all these thoughts? Buddha said, do not grieve over spilled water. The more you try to hold on to it, the more suffering you create for yourself. The past is already gone, and the future has yet to arrive. So now, try letting go of the thoughts that are burdening your heart. Like setting down a heavy bag. Release them one by one, and feel how much lighter your mind becomes. The third method is living in the present moment. The more we get lost in our thoughts, the further we drift away from reality. But life is always happening right here, right now. Buddha said, the place where your feet are at this moment, that is your life. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath, and gently exhale. Feel where you are right now. Observe your surroundings. Listen to the sounds around you, and sense your own presence. When you fully immerse yourself in this moment, your mind gradually calms, and troubling thoughts begin to fade. One day, a disciple asked Buddha, "Master, my mind is always restless. How can I make it peaceful?" Buddha handed him a bowl filled with water. "Shake this bowl," he said. The disciple obeyed, and the water inside sloshed around violently. "Now, set it down and wait." As time passed, the water naturally settled, becoming still and clear. Buddha smiled and said, "The mind is the same. If you constantly shake it with worries and regrets, it will remain turbulent. But if you let it be, it will settle on its own." We do not need to force our minds to be calm. When we stop overthinking, our minds naturally return to peace. So today, instead of chasing after every thought, pause for a moment, simply breathe, observe, and let go. By doing this, you will discover that peace was always within you. Chapter 4: Accepting Emotions as They Are. Every day, we experience a wide range of emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, anxiety. Some days, our hearts feel light, while on others, they feel as heavy as a stone. During difficult moments, we often think, "I shouldn't feel this way. Why am I so anxious? I need to get rid of this emotion." But Buddha taught, a shadow on the water disappears when you try to grasp it with your hands. But when you simply observe it, it remains as it is. The more we suppress or reject our emotions, the stronger they become. Instead of pushing them away, try accepting them as they are. So how can we learn to be at peace with our emotions? The first method is not judging emotions. Whenever we feel an emotion, we instinctively judge it as good or bad. If we feel happy, we think, "This is good." If we feel sad, we think, "This is bad." If we feel angry, we think, "I must get rid of this." But emotions, in themselves, are neither good nor bad. Buddha said, "A rainy day is not a bad day. A day filled with sadness is not a bad day either. Like passing clouds, they will simply move on, no matter what emotion arises. Instead of labeling it as negative, just observe it. "Ah, I am feeling this emotion right now." By doing so, your mind will gradually become more at ease. The second method is experiencing emotions through the body. Instead of analyzing emotions with the mind, try feeling them through the body. When you are anxious, your chest may feel tight. When you are sad, your eyes may feel warm. When you are angry, your hands may tremble. At those moments, simply acknowledge, "Ah, my chest feels heavy. Ah, my hands are trembling." Buddha said, "Do not resist emotions with your mind. Simply allow them to flow through your body. Then, they will naturally fade away." Emotions cannot be forced away. But when we observe them gently, they will gradually dissolve. The third method is giving your emotions space. When we experience strong emotions, we often get completely consumed by them. But in order to accept emotions, we must create a little space in our minds. Imagine a window slightly open, allowing a soft breeze to enter. Buddha said, "If you grip silk too tightly, it will wrinkle." Likewise, if you hold onto your emotions too tightly, your mind will become tense. Loosen your grip slightly, and clarity will follow. Right now, gently observe your emotions. Are you clinging to them? Or are you allowing them to flow naturally? Instead of trying to eliminate emotions, simply let them be. When you stop resisting, you will notice that your emotions no longer trouble you as much. And soon, your heart will regain its peace. Chapter 5: Finding Inner Stillness. We live in a world that never stops moving. There are always tasks to complete, people to meet, and goals to achieve. We rush through our days. But at the end of it all, why do we still feel restless and empty? It is because we are constantly surrounded by the noise of the external world, and have forgotten to take time to look within ourselves. Buddha said, "Only in stillness can you truly meet yourself." So how can we find inner stillness amidst the busyness of life? The first method is pausing to reflect on yourself. If you keep moving non-stop, you will eventually lose sight of what truly matters. Think of a lake. When strong winds blow, its surface becomes turbulent and unclear. But when the wind settles, the water becomes still, revealing its original clarity. Buddha taught, to make water clear, you do not need to stir it. Just leave it undisturbed, and it will settle naturally. We often believe that we must constantly do something to find peace. But sometimes, the best thing we can do is simply stop and observe. Right now, pause for a moment. Let go of everything you are doing, and just observe your mind. Within you, peace already exists. The second method is listening to the sounds of nature. Although we are human, we are also a part of nature. That is why when we spend time in nature, our minds naturally feel at ease. Buddha said, "The mountains do not speak, yet their presence alone brings comfort." In nature, your heart will return to its original calm. Right now, close your eyes and imagine yourself surrounded by nature. Hear the wind passing by, the rustling of the leaves, the distant chirping of birds. These sounds do not demand anything from you. They simply exist, and in their presence, you will feel a quiet peace. Whenever your mind feels overwhelmed, spend a moment reconnecting with nature. Even in the midst of chaos, you will find a place of stillness within. The third method is focusing on your breath. We breathe every moment, yet we rarely notice it. But deep, mindful breathing has the power to calm the mind and restore inner balance. Buddha said, as you inhale, simply be aware of your inhale. As you exhale, simply be aware of your exhale. Right now, take a slow, deep breath in. Then gently exhale. Focus entirely on your breath. By following the rhythm of your breath, you will notice your mind becoming quieter and more peaceful, even in a busy life. Finding inner stillness is not difficult. Simply pause and reflect. Listen to the sounds of nature, and breathe deeply. With these small steps, you can cultivate a sense of peace that remains steady no matter what happens around you. And in that moment of stillness, you will hear not the noise of the world, but the true voice within yourself. Chapter 6: The Wisdom of Letting Go. As we go through life, we hold on to many things: people we love, precious belongings, dreams and expectations we've carried for years. While these things bring us joy, they can also become heavy burdens, weighing down our hearts with fear of loss. The more we try to hold on, the more anxious we become. Buddha said, Just as a full cup cannot hold more water, a mind filled with attachments has no space for peace. So how can we let go of attachments and live with a lighter heart? The first step is realizing that letting go is freedom. There was once a traveler carrying a bag full of jewels as he climbed a steep mountain path. The higher he climbed, the heavier the bag felt. Eventually, he became too exhausted to move forward. A wise teacher passing by asked, "Are the things you carry truly necessary for your journey?" The traveler hesitated, then slowly began to remove the jewels one by one. With each one he let go of, his steps became lighter. At last, he reached the mountaintop. We are like this traveler. Our worries, fears, and regrets weigh us down and keep us from moving forward. But when we start letting go, we find a new sense of freedom. The second step is focusing on the present moment. Many of us live either trapped in the past or anxious about the future. But the past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. The only time that truly exists is this very moment. Buddha said, "The past is like water that has already flowed away. The future is like the wind that has not yet come." Live fully in the present. Right now, what emotions are filling your heart? What do you see, hear, and feel in this moment? By focusing on now, we naturally release unnecessary attachments and begin to experience true peace. The third step is accepting that everything changes. We often fear change. We worry about losing what we have and wish to hold on to things forever. But nothing in this world is permanent. Everything flows. Everything transforms. Buddha said, "All things that arise will eventually change, and all things that change will eventually disappear." This is the way of nature. There is no need to resist it. Flowers bloom and wither. Rivers flow and never stay the same. Even if we try to hold on, time continues to move forward. So instead of fearing change, embrace it as a natural part of life. When you let things flow as they are, you free yourself from unnecessary attachments and make space for new possibilities. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about choosing to live freely. Just as you must open your hands to receive something new, you must empty your heart to welcome peace and happiness. Today, try setting down the burdens you have been carrying for so long. With a lighter heart, you may find that life becomes much more peaceful. Chapter 7: The Peace That Comes from Gratitude. Often, we focus more on what we lack rather than on what we have. We long for more money, a bigger house, a better future, and in doing so, we let the present moment slip away. But what we truly seek is not material wealth, but peace of mind. So how can we find peace amidst an imperfect life? The answer lies in gratitude. Buddha said, "Those who appreciate what they have will always feel abundant. Those who are consumed by greed will always feel lacking." True contentment does not come from how much we own, but from the way we see the world. So how can we cultivate a heart full of gratitude? The first method is being grateful for the small things. When you wake up in the morning, be grateful for the fresh air. As you drink a cup of warm tea, appreciate its comforting warmth. When we pay attention to the small joys in life, our days become richer and more fulfilling. Gratitude helps us see the simple miracles of life, the ability to breathe, the presence of loved ones, the opportunity to experience today. When our hearts are filled with gratitude, anxiety and greed naturally fade, and we begin to feel a deep sense of peace. The second method is letting go of comparison. We often measure ourselves against others. That person is more successful than me. Why am I still not enough? But Buddha said, one who compares themselves to others will never find peace. Walk your own path, and your heart will be free. Each of us walks a different journey. Some move quickly, while others take their time. What truly matters is not how we compare to others, but whether we are living our own path. When we stop comparing and focus on our own growth, we find peace within ourselves. The third method is expressing gratitude through giving. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it becomes even more meaningful when we express it through our actions. A warm smile, a kind word, a small act of kindness. These gestures not only bring joy to others, but also deepen our own sense of gratitude. Buddha said, gratitude is meant to be shared. The more you give, the more it grows. When we extend kindness to others, our own hearts become warmer, and we start seeing life in a more positive light. Even the smallest act of giving can transform our perspective, helping us recognize the abundance in our own lives. When we cultivate gratitude, we learn to appreciate life, even in the midst of challenges. Today, take a moment to be grateful for the simple things. Acknowledge what you have, let go of comparisons, and share kindness with others. With each step, you will find yourself walking toward a more peaceful heart. Chapter 8: The Wisdom of Letting Go. How to Lighten the Heart. One day, a disciple asked Buddha, "Master, I have many things in my life, but why does my heart always feel heavy?" Buddha smiled and handed him a small stone. "Hold this stone in your hand, and place it in the river," he instructed. The disciple did as he was told. As soon as the stone touched the water, it felt much heavier than before. Buddha then said, like this stone, the things we cling to may not seem heavy at first, but the longer we hold on to them, the more they weigh us down. When we learn to let go, our hearts become lighter, and we find true freedom. But why is it so difficult to let go? 1. Letting go of the past. As we journey through life, we carry countless memories, especially past regrets and wounds, that prevent us from moving forward. If only I had done things differently. I wish I could go back and change that. But Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past, nor be troubled by the future. Focus only on this moment. No matter how much we regret, we cannot change what has already happened. But if we continue to hold on to the past, we risk losing the happiness of the present. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting it. It means accepting it and moving forward. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, that was my past, but I am here now. By releasing the weight of the past, we open our hearts to the beauty of the present moment. 2. Letting go of worries about the future. We often worry about things that haven't even happened yet. What will happen tomorrow? Will I be okay in the future? Such worries prevent us from fully living in the present. Buddha said, worrying about the future is like carrying an umbrella every day for a rain that may never come. No matter how much we think about it, the future remains uncertain. Instead of getting lost in worries, focus on what you can do right now. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today? By concentrating on the present moment, you will naturally feel lighter and more at peace. 3. Letting go of attachments in relationships. Loving someone is beautiful, but clinging to people, out of fear of losing them, can bring suffering. What if they don't like me? Why don't they act the way I expect? The truth is, we cannot control others. Buddha taught, just as the wind shakes the branches, people's hearts will also change. Instead of resisting this, learn to observe it with understanding. Instead of trying to control how others feel or behave, accept them as they are. This will free both you and them, making relationships more peaceful and sincere. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means making space for something new to enter. When we release what is weighing us down, we discover a newfound sense of peace and freedom. Right now, what is it that you are holding on to? Take a deep breath and try letting it go, even if just a little. When you do, you will feel your heart becoming lighter, and life will flow more freely. Chapter 9: How to Quiet the Mind. One day, a disciple asked Buddha, "Master, my mind is always noisy. I am constantly filled with regrets about the past, worries about the future, and concerns about my relationships. No matter what I do, my thoughts never seem to stop. How can I find peace?" Buddha smiled and pointed to a still pond. "Look at this water," he said. "When the wind blows, the surface becomes disturbed, and the reflection disappears. But when the wind stops, the water naturally becomes clear again. Your mind is the same. If you stop stirring it with endless thoughts, it will settle on its own." The disciple took a deep breath and let the lesson sink in. So, how can we calm the restless mind and find peace within? 1. Let thoughts flow instead of stopping them. Many people believe that in order to find inner peace, they must stop thinking altogether. But in reality, the more we try to suppress our thoughts, the stronger they become. Buddha taught, do not try to eliminate thoughts. Instead, simply watch them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. Rather than fighting against your thoughts, practice observing them. "Ah, I see this thought arising. Ah, this worry is passing through my mind." By doing this, you will find that thoughts lose their power over you. Over time, they will naturally fade. 2. Focus on your breath to stay present. A restless mind constantly wanders between the past and the future. But the breath always exists, only in the present moment. Buddha said, with each inhale and exhale, you return to the here and now. Right now, take a slow, deep breath in. Then gently exhale. As you focus on your breath, your mind will start to quiet, and the present moment will come into focus. 3. Listen to the sounds around you. When your mind feels overwhelmed, find a quiet place and simply listen. The chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, the distant sound of flowing water. These natural sounds can bring peace to an unsettled heart. Buddha said, "Listen to the world, but do not let it disturb you. When you do this, your mind will become as calm as a still river. Right now, close your eyes and focus on the sounds around you. Let them flow without resistance. As you do, you will notice that your inner noise gradually fades away." 4. Remove unnecessary burdens. Often, our minds are restless because we carry too many unnecessary burdens, excessive worries, useless thoughts, or even material possessions we do not need. Buddha taught, a traveler carrying too much baggage will struggle on a long journey, but one who carries only what is essential will walk with ease. Take a moment to reflect. What can I let go of? The less you carry, the lighter and freer your mind will become. True peace lies within. When the mind is still, we finally see ourselves clearly, like a calm pond reflecting the sky. A peaceful mind reveals our true nature. Right now, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and simply observe your mind. In this stillness, peace is already waiting for you. Chapter 10 Lessons Learned in Stillness. When the mind becomes still, we begin to see things we once overlooked. The beauty in small moments, the voices we failed to hear, and the things we truly desire, all become clear in silence. So, what can we discover in moments of stillness? 1. True happiness does not come from the outside. Many people seek happiness in external things, a better home, more money, recognition from others. Yet even when we achieve these things, why do we still feel unsettled? Buddha said, those who seek happiness outside themselves will never be satisfied. True happiness can only bloom from within. When we quiet our minds and look inward, we realize that happiness was never something to be found. It was always within us. 2. Most worries are unnecessary. When we observe our thoughts in stillness, we see that many of them are not as important as they seemed. A mistake made yesterday, concerns about what others think, fears about an uncertain future. In the end, most of these worries are like passing clouds. Buddha taught, do not hold on to the past, and do not fear the future. Live fully in this moment. Right now, take a deep breath. With each exhale, let go of one worry at a time. Slowly, your heart will feel lighter. 3. Your mind shapes your world. Two people can look at the same scene, but see completely different things. One person may see beauty, while another sees flaws. One person may feel gratitude, while another feels dissatisfaction. What makes the difference? Buddha taught, the world does not change. Only your mind does. If we shift our perspective, even slightly, our entire experience of life can transform. 4. You are already enough. We spend so much time trying to improve ourselves, achieve more, and become better. But in stillness, we realize a simple truth. We are already enough as we are. Buddha said, do not see yourself as lacking. You are already whole. Right now, reflect on everything you already have. Your breath, your body, your ability to love and be loved. True contentment is not about gaining more, but recognizing that you are already complete. Discovering yourself in stillness. When the mind is still, we feel less separate from the world. and more connected to everything around us. And in that moment, we realize we were never alone, and we were never lost. Today, spend a few moments in silence. Turn your attention inward, and simply listen. There, you may find all the answers you have been searching for. Chapter 11: The Wisdom of Letting Go. As we go through life, we try to hold on to many things: love, money, status, recognition. Sometimes, we even cling to past wounds, unable to let them go. But the more we hold on, the heavier we become, and the harder life feels. So, what does it truly mean to let go? Today, let us explore the wisdom that letting go can bring. 1. Only open hands can receive something new. A child stands by the river, holding a handful of stones. His mother approaches and offers him a beautiful pebble. But the child hesitates to take the new pebble. He must first let go of the ones in his hand. We are no different. Regrets of the past, useless attachments, things that have already passed. If we keep holding on to them, even when new happiness arrives, we will not be able to embrace it. Buddha taught, when you let go of what you are clinging to, you will finally become free. Right now, what are you holding on to so tightly? Perhaps it is time to slowly open your hands. 2. What must be released will eventually leave. At times, we desperately cling to things, afraid to lose them. A person who has left, an opportunity that has passed, moments that can never return. But in the end, whatever must go, will go. A leaf floating on water will eventually drift away with the current. The laws of nature cannot be resisted. Water flows on its own, and the wind passes naturally. If you try to hold on too tightly, you will only create more suffering. Instead of fighting against the flow, why not allow yourself to move with it? That is the true meaning of letting go. 3. Letting go is not giving up. Many people mistake letting go for giving up, but in truth, letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is a wise choice to move forward. A tree that never sheds its old leaves cannot grow fresh new ones. Likewise, when we release unnecessary attachments, we make space for new opportunities. Only when the old is released can the new enter. Are you holding on to something that is causing you pain? If so, perhaps it is time to open your heart and let it go, little by little. 4. The lighter you become, the freer you will be. Imagine climbing a mountain while carrying a heavy backpack. Inside the backpack are unnecessary things, clothes you never wear, notebooks you no longer need, items you never use. What happens when you start removing these items one by one? Your body feels lighter, and the journey becomes easier. Life is the same way. The more unnecessary burdens we release from our hearts, the freer we become. As you let go of attachments, you will become lighter and lighter. Today, what can you release to make your heart feel lighter? Final thoughts. In life, we cannot have everything, nor can we hold on to everything. But those who learn to let go gain true freedom. Today, take a moment to reflect on your heart. If you are carrying unnecessary burdens, perhaps it is time to release them. When you do, a quiet sense of peace will find its way into your heart. Chapter 12, Where True Peace Comes From. We all seek peace, even in a chaotic world, even in the midst of our own struggles. We long for an unshakable stillness within. But where does true peace come from? Many believe that peace depends on external conditions: a stable job, a comfortable home, a life free from conflict. But if we truly wish to find peace, we must look in a different direction. Peace does not come from the outside. It arises from within. 1. The wind must stop for the lake to be still. Imagine a calm lake. Its surface is perfectly still, because there is no wind. But the moment the wind blows, the water ripples and becomes unsettled. Our minds work the same way. If we constantly react to the chaos of the world, we will never find peace. Buddha taught, if you seek peace in the outside world, you will always be restless. But when the winds of the mind settle, peace will naturally arise, no matter how noisy the world is. If our own minds remain still, we will always find peace within. So how do we calm the winds of the mind? 2. It is not the world that disturbs us, but our attachments. We often believe that other people or difficult situations are the cause of our suffering. But when we look deeper, we realize that suffering usually comes from within, from our own attachments. Why do we feel hurt by someone's words? Because we are attached to how they perceive us. Why do we feel anxious about the future? Because we are attached to a specific outcome. Buddha taught, peace does not come from the outside. It begins the moment you let go. Right now, what is disturbing your peace? Take a moment to reflect. Is it truly the situation? Or is it your attachment to how things should be? Recognizing this is the first step to inner peace. 3. Everything passes with time. One day, a disciple came to a monk and said, "Master, I am struggling. I feel lost, and I don't know how to find peace." The monk handed him a handful of sand. "Hold this tightly," the monk instructed. The disciple clenched his fist. But as he did, the sand slipped through his fingers. "Now, open your hand." As the disciple relaxed his grip, the remaining sand rested peacefully in his palm. The monk smiled and said, "Suffering comes from holding on too tightly. Peace comes when you simply let things be." We often resist change, clinging to the past, or fearing the future. But the truth is, everything in life is constantly moving. Buddha taught, this, too, shall pass. Pain, worries, even joy, everything flows like a river. Instead of grasping, trust in the natural course of life. By accepting impermanence, we find the peace we have been searching for. 4. True peace exists only in the present moment. Many of us dwell in the past, replaying old memories, or we live in the future, worrying about what has yet to come. But peace cannot be found in a time that does not exist. Buddha said, "The past is gone. The future has not yet come. The only moment you truly have is now, right now." Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Notice the space around you. Listen to the silence. This moment, this is where peace exists. Not in what was, not in what will be, but in what is, right here and now. Final thoughts. True peace does not come from controlling the outside world. It comes from letting go, trusting the flow of life, and embracing the present moment. Take a deep breath, release your worries, and simply be. Peace has always been within you. You just need to return to it.